Domi's availability has seemed to squeeze Chinikov down a little bit. He's looked to be the extra guy today. How do you get him enough ice time to justify keeping him here?
We will manage that. Yeah, he's not going to sit here and not play. I can tell you right now. If it goes longer than a game or two, like again, we're 2.5 hours up the road. So the luxury is he can go play, come back. He can sit there for a weekend, a couple of weeks. So we'll be real cognizant of that. He's a young guy who needs to play. I've talked to him in my broken English or broken Russian, I should say, his broken English, and I got to get Gavrikov on that meeting. But the last thing we want to do is have him not playing.
Have a Bjorkstrand today? Is that just a day-to-day thing, or do you have a
yeah, it's a maintenance day for him. You know, he was a little bit banged up, nothing serious, so he should be okay.
I've asked you a ton about Bemstrom, I think, this camp, and but 4 goals in 5 games. Is that the kind of thing you wanted to see about him? He seemed like he was a bubble guy, but now he seems like he might get an opportunity as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Like he's a guy. He got better as camp went along. Early in camp, I was, kind of going, I need to see more, and he started to show more, even in that St. Louis game. And again, we knew the lineup we brought, but like I told those guys, you're going to get to play against NHL players. This is a real NHL lineup. That's a really good lineup. So show me what you can do. And by the third period, and I know the game's out of hand, but you still got to find ways to score goals. And he did that. He made 2 great shots on goals, and those are goal scorers' goals. So I think he had 4 in the preseason there. So we had to talk today a little bit about how his game progressed, and that's the key. Is it's got to stay at that level.
Assuming Max felt pretty good the day after, even getting hit and everything.
Yeah, no, big smile on his face. Ask Max. He was good. You could tell right away in that game he was engaged. He had a couple of hits right away just to test it out, and everything that I've talked to him about, he feels great.
What kind of a camp did you think Peak had? I mean, it seemed like he was kind of stepped up the physicality this camp and in the preseason games.
Well, I think Peaker was a little bit up and down too, but the word we've been using all camp is being competitive, and I want 18 guys that are competitive every night. That's number one. Doesn't matter your size. There's a lot of ways to be competitive at the puck. It's not about physical running guys over and fighting. It's about we want that puck, and you'll do whatever you can to get it back within our structure. So I think he's put a real conscious effort on that. Sometimes you got to be careful to not chasing the game. There's a fine line between being physical and then running out of position to get it. But I think he did some good things, and there's room for improvement.
How much did Sillinger's natural center, he's a positional, he plays center, how much did that help him stick around?
Yeah, that helps a lot. I think, plus his play. I mean, he's a centerman. I don't have any intentions of putting him on the wing. If he gets to the point where we felt like he's got to move down, then he's got to go play center somewhere else, because he's got a bright future, whether it's now and for the long term. We're going to see how this goes. And again, he's a young man. He's 18, but I told him today, I said, I keep looking at you, trying to get rid of you, and I can't, because he's even in his games where he wasn't that, I would say, had the energy, he still thinks it really well. He still provides something for your team. I think he understands, the 200-foot game. He understands positioning. He's got a heavy stick. He wants the puck when he's tired. He changes on time. He does a lot of things that pros just don't do naturally. They have to be told and taught. So I don't know if his dad taught him. I don't know if he had great coaching, but he's got a solid grasp of what it looks like to be a centerman. But in saying that, he's still 18. He's still young, and now we're going to start seeing some really good lineups. So we'll see how he does.
Yeah, it's interesting at 18. I think if you talk to most general managers, or whatever, they'll say that the big concern is you don't want to crush his confidence or so you have to kind of evaluate that with him, I would imagine. But does he seem like the kind of guy that maybe, I don't want to say Teflon, but you know what I mean? Like he seems like he's not going to be fazed by having some struggles maybe and working through them? Well,
I think any player in this league is going to have struggles in an 82-game schedule. The one thing that I think with him is that he's not like a one-trick pony. Like, he's not all skill, and if he can't bring that he doesn't give any substance to a game. I think why I've enjoyed watching him play and why he's built some trust with me in a short term is that even when he's not bringing maybe the offensive side, there's a competitive edge to him. There's a willingness to defend. He arrives on time. He changes on time. Again, all these intangibles that you try to teach guys, it really comes natural to him. So again, and I say all this, going back, he's still 18, and if we are certainly not going to try and stunt his growth as a player, because I think he has a really bright future. But if he can continue to grow with us at this time at 18. And if we feel like that's the right move for him, then we'll do it.
Brad, you would have played against Mike, right?
We probably would have crossed paths at some point. He was a much better player than me, though. I probably wouldn't. Yeah, he was a solid player, really good player.
Does that make you feel old? You're coaching this kid now?
No. You know what? It's like everyone asks you about that. I'm like, well, what do you think's going to happen? That's the whole point, right? We start getting older, get more gray. My kids point out my gray and my goatee all the time now, you know? So it is what it is, yeah.
Hey, did you like Texier better in his second game between Line A and Voracek?
Yeah, I thought he was better the second game than the first one for me. There's another gear for him, another game for him. I think he gets a busy mind. I think we just got to get him a little bit more streamlined, and there's a lot to like about his game when he's on, and it's just making sure because it's never a lack of work or competitiveness. It's just more calm in his hands and his mind, and if he can do that, I think he could bring something to that line that could be really special.
What stood out about Hoffman? Was it speed for you that kind of kept him around?
He's everything's work based. From the time I saw him day one in camp, his speed is. I mean, the man's a skater. He can skate. What's impressed me about him? Again, he's been one of those scorers over in Switzerland, but you know he's come here and earned my trust in a whole other way. And I know he has it in his game. I know he has. There's a power play player in there. I know there's a guy that can finish. And talking with him, we're having some good conversations. It's a different game. Yeah. You know, you get to the small ice and you're playing against the best players in the world, time and space. You know, how do you find those areas? How are you going to do it? But what I love about him is that he is going to work for it, and he's trying to figure that out already. So I see him progressing into a really solid NHL player here. And again, it's early, but, you know, you love to see the guys that have put the work in. He's on their penalty kill, you know, so again, he's another guy that, you know, he's added to his toolbox, and he's not just, you know, one-dimensional, which is really important for us. You know what I mean? Is he going to be every day? I don't know. But as of right now, I like what I see from him as far as he's got that pace to his game that we want to have and make sure we're a fast team and be relentless, and he's one of those guys that fits in with it.
It's an interesting fourth line, too, with, you know, on the other side, you got Robinson who can really fly, Hoffman can skate, Corrali's a veteran, you know, like.
Yeah, there's a lot of pace to that line, and you know, I like that line. I like the looks of that line right now, and again, we'll see how it goes into the real stuff here, but there's a lot of speed, and I don't see them as just checkers. I've told them I want to build trust with them, especially how useful can that be for me on the road. You don't get last change, and you're in a line matchup situation that may not be in your favor, but I'm not worried about them, and I think that's a group that could do that with the way that they check and they're relentless. They could be really hard to play against, and I think they can provide some offense. Sure. I do. I think those three guys can put the puck in the net. You give them enough ice time.
But do you think this team and this city has seen what Patrick Laine can be?
Like from last year? No, I don't think so. I don't think Patty will be the first to tell you. They haven't seen Patty Laine yet. I think he took the right step, though, this summer in coming into camp. I told him the other day, I was really impressed with this camp, how he's been working and how he's carried himself. And, you know, now we go into the regular season, I think he's really hungry to just prove maybe to himself, not so much to everybody else, that he knows he has a better game. You know, we've kind of beat that story to death. I don't think we have to talk about it anymore. We've turned that page, and I think what I liked about him is that we addressed it, and, you know, we didn't talk for maybe several weeks at a time, 3, 4, 5 weeks. Because I said, as soon as I see you, I'll know if you put the work in. You're right. You know, so your actions are going to tell me everything if it's important to you. And it was important to him because he put the work in. And you've seen it at camp. He's worked his tail off.
Yeah. You talked to him right when you got the job?
Yeah, I've talked to him, before I got the job, when I got the job, during the summer, Yep.
With the Bemstrom thing, you know, you talk about he needs to become more consistent. Is it as simple as just scoring more goals, or are there other parts of his game that need to come
No.
along?
If we base everything on scoring goals, we're in trouble, right? I think that's something that he can do because he's got a knack for it. You know, he's done it in the Swedish Elite League there. I think he got 21 years as a very young man. So we know that that's there, but you gotta do it. You know, it's really hard to tell just somebody to just be confident. You know, I think good play, like what he did in St. Louis in finishing, that breeds confidence. So, no, it's much bigger than just scoring goals. He's got it, you know, within our structure, our details. One thing I like about him, too, and I'll say it, he's a worker. It's never, it's never a lack of work, which is great, but sometimes there's some reads that he's got to make and make sure that he makes them quicker.